Hello, I'm Wei Yi. Welcome to X Investigation. The story takes place in Pennsylvania. It's in the northeastern United States. The state is rich in mineral resources. Coal production ranks second nationwide. In western Pennsylvania lies a prison called Western Prison. It's 5 kilometers from downtown Pittsburgh. It was the first prison west of the Atlantic coastal plain. The 19th century facility was designed by Philadelphia architect Hawley. Construction began in 1826. It didn't open officially until 1882. Western Prison earned a notorious nickname, the Iron Wall, with a 12-meter high perimeter fence, hard to scale. Guard towers stand at each cardinal point, with guards on duty 24 hours a day. Inmates' every move is watched. Those released from here say it's no place for humans. It was once called Pennsylvania's highest security facility. Escaping this prison is almost impossible. Yet in 1997, 6 inmates, after careful planning, launched a daring breakout. Would they make it? Now, let me tell you that story. The main player is Pontus, a 30-year-old born in Pittsburgh, who once worked for a publicly traded company. He had a stable job. In his youth, a chance encounter revealed the code to the company's safe. Tempted by money, Pontus and 2 co-workers planned to steal the cash. But the scheme was discovered mid-action, and he wounded a man. Pontus came from a middle-class family, with a good education. He deeply regretted the crime, while the other 2, seeking self-preservation, pointed the finger at Pontus as the mastermind. The court sentenced him to at least 10 years. He was talented, and after a year behind bars, he managed to escape. He was recaptured the following year for the original robbery injury and the new escape, receiving a sentence of 10 to 24 years. Imprisoned at Pittsburgh's Western Prison. From the start, Pence knew the prison wasn't easy to endure. It holds over 1,800 hardened inmates. Fights break out frequently. If you get caught up, you could lose your life. The guard escorting Pence joked on the way to the prison. He asked, "What's your goal at Western Prison?" Pence was silent for a moment. Then he replied, "I want to escape." The guard burst out laughing. He thought the idea was a wild fantasy. No one has ever gotten out of Western Prison. But Pence was convinced he could break free. He knew he needed a meticulous plan, and every step had to be flawless. From the moment he entered, Pence lost his freedom. His prison life began. He felt deep regret. He believed he once had a bright future. Now, a moment of greed landed him here. Prison life is rigid. Every day repeats the same routine. Even the most thoughtful become numb. Pence faces at least 10 years here. At 7 a.m., the wake-up bell rings. Then everyone heads out for breakfast. Work starts promptly at 8:30. Pence is lucky. He has a higher education. He works as a clerk in the prison workshop. His station is in the north, near the wall. There's a rebar shop, laundry, and more. His job is relatively easy. But he never dropped the escape plan. At 10:30 a.m., roll call is exact. Even while working, guards keep constant watch over inmates. Lunch is the most relaxed time. Prisoners can chat. Pence uses this time to scout potential escape partners. During this period, Pence met his first prison friend, Bok Bao, a man convicted of murder. He'd been in prison a year before Pence. He was doing well inside, built some contacts. Pence saw that, so he befriended him. He believed the blog would someday help him. After day of watching, Pence roughly mapped the prison layout and drew a mental floor plan. Every day at 4:30 p.m., inmates get yard time, free to move around. He used that time to scan every corner and each guard's patrol route, memorizing their timing and spacing. After 3 years inside, Pence had memorized every detail of West Prison. He kept looking for a flaw, but found none. It frustrated him. Then one yard time day, Pence overheard 2 guards talking. Their conversation revealed a crucial clue. Near the factory where he worked, below a small room, there was an underground void close to the warehouse outside the prison. Pence was thrilled by the tip. He finally saw a way out. If he could get into that room, he could dig a tunnel straight through the wall to the warehouse and escape. But the room was locked. Every day a guard opens it for a check, then locks it again. To get in, he'd need the key. The room's near the yard. Pence used yard time daily, watching the guard who opens it. He saw all keys on a single key ring, hanging from the guard's belt. The room's key was the outermost one. In the days that followed, Pence racked his brain, trying to figure out how to get it. But the guard was cautious, keeping the key on him at all times. No chance to strike. Just as Pence hit a dead end, he noticed something on a disposable coffee cup, left his own imprint. The cup was made of plastic, very soft, easy to leave a mark. This discovery gave him a brilliant idea. If he could imprint the key's shape onto the cup, he could forge an identical key. Pontes first told his friend Burke Bow about the whole jailbreak plan. Burke was initially shocked. Then he agreed. He called Pontes a genius. But to imprint the key on the cup, he had to get close to the guard, without the guard noticing, a tough task. After thinking, Burke decided to use his contacts to stage a play in front of the guard. In West Prison, cigarettes are hard cash. Burke used 2 packs of cigarettes to bribe 2 inmates to cooperate. In prison, guards are like the inmates, with set daily duties. The guard who carried the key would patrol the small room during yard time. After days of planning, during a yard break, Pontes decided to act. When the guard locked the door and stepped out, the 2 bribed inmates rushed the guard. Pretending a dispute, they shouted at each other and grabbed the guard's arm, forcing him to intervene. Chaos erupted. Eugen, strong-built, urged them to calm down, but they kept pushing, ready to fight. From a distance, Pontes seized the moment and stepped forward. He pretended to mediate, but his real target was the key. Amid the shoving, Pontes slipped out a pre-cut cup fragment. He pressed the fragment against the key. Eugen's focus stayed on the inmates, missing Ponce's move. Thus Pontes successfully imprinted the key's shape onto the cup shard. To avoid Eugen noticing, he never lowered his head, maintaining a fake focus on mediating. The ruse succeeded spectacularly. Back in the cell, Pontes examined the cup shard closely. The key's outline was crystal clear. The key shape above is crystal clear. It thrilled him. But he knew well, he couldn't pull off a prison break alone. He needed more people. So he started scouting inmates. Lunch each day was his best chance to observe them. No one knew what Pence was planning. He kept looking for allies inside. Beyond special skills, the key was absolute reliability. They couldn't leak his secret. After a month of vetting, 5 inmates were chosen. Keller, serving life for murder, worked transporting goods, giving him freedom of movement. Pence saw the advantage and recruited him. Conrad, also serving life for murder, worked in the metal shop. He could easily obtain brass, the exact material for forging keys, so he naturally joined the crew. Haim, sentenced to 4 to 15 years for robbery, had been an auto mechanic. He had a unique skill. He could start a car without a key, useful for a breakout. Billingsley, convicted of robbery and other crimes, was sentenced to 23 to 77 years. He'd been a miner. Digging tunnels and forging keys were child's play. He too was recruited by Pence. The last was Pence's friend, Burke Bow. He was serving 10 to 20 years for robbery. Since Pence went in, they'd been close. Burke Bow devoted himself to helping him. To escape the prison, Pence had to bring him along. Under Pence's network, the 6-man breakout team was formed. During a lunch break, Pence slipped a paper cup fragment shaped like a key to Billingsley, ordering him to forge the key ASAP. Billingsley didn't disappoint. In under 2 days, he handed the forged key to Pence to test if it opened the small room. Pontes must take a risk. When the vents are opened during the day, while the guards aren't watching, he tries to pick the lock. After thinking it over, Pontes still thinks it's too dangerous because any alert would raise guard vigilance. The watchtower alerts would sweep the whole yard. A rash move would be easily spotted. At lunchtime, most inmates are in the mess hall. Pontes, in his jumpsuit, heads to the toilet and stands outside the small red stall. Since it's lunch, the alerts are a bit lax. On the 4 watchtowers, only one guard is on alert, patrolling back and forth along the middle wall. The wall is lower than the watchtowers. The guard on the tower can't see the red stall door, but from the tower you can see it. By watching, Pontes notes the guard on the wall. Each round takes 17 seconds. After that, the guard returns to the tower. So he has 17 seconds to try the key on the lock. Then he seizes an opening, rushes to the door and pulls out the key, while his mind counts down. But then he spots a fatal flaw. The key won't turn in the lock. Time ticks by. Pontes' heart races. If the lock won't open, all his prep is wasted. Just as he's about to give up, the lock suddenly turns. Pontes feels shocked and relieved. He quickly secures the door and leaves. He escapes just in time before any guard notices. That brings him one step closer to the breakout. In the days that follow, Pontes and his crew split tasks, using lunch breaks to enter the small room. 2 go in while 1 watches the door. After lunch, they pull the 2 out. Through prison contacts, they acquire helmets, flashlights and tunnel digging tools. Inside the room, they face another problem. The void is beneath the floor, but the floor is reinforced concrete. Breaking through would make a huge noise, and the patrol would spot it. Just as they despair, Pontes notices chunks of soil falling from the wall. The prison is built with double-layer walls. That gave him a new idea. Since they couldn't break through the floor, they'd blast through the inner wall and start digging down. But first, they had to make a hole in the wall. Hitting the wall would inevitably make noise. That could draw the guards' attention. Yet Pontes wasn't ready to quit. He decided to go all in. They then began pounding the wall. Everyone was on edge. As bricks started to loosen, they officially began tunneling. Luckily, they weren't spotted. After each dig, they'd hide the dirt in their sleeves and pants and slip it out with their legs. Then they'd discard it when no one was looking. Thus, the 6 members used lunch breaks to take turns working in the small cell. Keller used his plant work as a cover to move freely around the prison. No one questioned where he went. He always kept watch outside. When the time came, he'd let the men out of the cell. A prison holds almost no secrets. Pontes knew their escape plan had to be executed quickly. The longer it took, the riskier. They could dig about 2 to 3 meters a day. To finish sooner, they needed to speed up. So they stole tools from the workshop. Fortunately, they weren't caught. The deeper they went, the more debris fell. The tunnel risked collapsing. If they were buried alive, no one would rescue them. They could only hope Birchley was truly a tunnel expert. He'd been directing the work. Everyone counted on the former miner to actually carve the escape route. After a while, they finally reached the base of the prison wall. Everyone felt a surge of hope. Escaping became their sole goal. From there, just keep digging outward. And they'd reach the warehouse outside. But just as hope rose, disaster struck. One lunch, Pontes was eating when the prison alarm suddenly blared. Pontes wondered, had they been exposed? Then Eugene called everyone outside the dining hall for roll call. The prison issued a new rule. All inmates must do a full roll call after lunch, then return to their cells. It happened too suddenly. Pontes' teammates were still digging in the small room, unaware. Pontes was frantic. If the roll call made Eugene notice they were missing, that would be disastrous. So Pontes raced back to the small room. Just as he was about to arrive, Eugene spotted him. She told him to hurry back for roll call. Pontes lied, saying the machine he was working on hadn't been shut down. He needed to go back and turn it off. Luckily, the guard was occupied with something else. After warning Pontes, she left. Pontes seized the chance and slipped into the small room. He called out a few teammates still tunneling. At the crucial moment, everyone left the small room. At that instant, a guard saw them. In the rush, they hadn't had time to wipe the dirt from their faces. As they passed the guard, each heart raced. They held their breath, pretending nothing was wrong as they moved forward. In the end, nothing happened. They passed the guard without incident. On January 7, they finally broke through to the warehouse floor outside the prison. Everyone was ecstatic. Then Pontes produced the drill he'd prepared. He drilled a small hole in the concrete until a gap big enough for an adult appeared. The tunnel was now complete. They could now make their escape. To avoid a long night of uncertainty, they decided to act the next day. That night they were both excited and nervous. Pontus tossed and turned in his cell, unable to sleep. His body trembled uncontrollably. He kept imagining what might happen next. Maybe the tunnel would collapse. Maybe the guard would spot them. He ran through every possible move, fearing he'd missed a step. It was the longest night he'd ever endured. January 8, 1997. It was a Wednesday, after 8 a.m. The team met at the agreed time. They all entered the small room. With flashlights, they slipped into the tunnel. Violently led the way, breaking through the blog report. The tunnel was cramped, dark and damp. Everyone had to stretch their arms forward to crawl through. As long as they could get out, none of that mattered. Soon, one by one, they emerged from the far end. They came out. Everyone went berserk with excitement. As they frantically opened the warehouse door, Pontus spotted a guard watching from the watchtower. He quickly told everyone to don hard hats and pose as maintenance workers. He and his teammates kept stressing, "Stay calm. Don't let the guard catch on." After discussion, they agreed Pontus would lead. The others followed close behind. To look more like workers, they grabbed a map from the warehouse. They pretended nothing was wrong and walked out. Just then, the prison alarm blared. They froze, unsure what to do. Had someone discovered their escape? Only a few steps stood between them and freedom. They couldn't quit now. They forced themselves onward toward the main gate. Pontus then opened the gate. Nothing seemed to happen. No warning signs appeared. The alarm wasn't triggered by them. Everything went smoothly. They were free. The day was unusually bright. Everyone felt reborn. They gulped fresh air. The world beyond the walls looked beautiful. They reached a nearby parking lot. Time hot-wired a car without trouble. The six of them drove away into the night. Hours later, at 12:38 p.m., the Pittsburgh police received a call, a distress line from West Prison. They learned 6 inmates had escaped in broad daylight. 6 prisoners in total. Upon the report, police deployed units immediately. One team pursued the 6 fugitives at full speed. The other rushed to West Prison to investigate. In addition, police deployed a helicopter and K-9 units to launch a manhunt outside the prison. The Western Prison rang with urgent alarms and went into full lockdown. Before locating the 6 inmates, the prison would enforce maximum security confinement, meaning the highest level of safety measures for the prisoners, to secure the facility and prevent riots or escapes. When police arrived at the Western Prison, the scene left everyone there stunned. No one expected that in such a tightly guarded prison, a 0.9-meter wide hole was found. Beyond it lay a tunnel, dark, damp, reeking of rot, with debris constantly falling from above, risking collapse at any moment. The tunnel stretched over 18 meters, directly to a warehouse outside the prison. Crawling out through that narrow tunnel required taking huge risks. Guards patrolled the prison 24 hours a day. How did the fugitives manage it? After investigation, police quickly identified the 6 men: 30-year-old Pontus, 36-year-old Keller, 66-year-old Conrad, 26-year-old Heim, 30-year-old Billingsley, and 48-year-old Birkbaugh. These men, unsurprisingly, will likely spend the rest of their lives in prison. Soon, tracking officers made a discovery. They found shattered glass in a parking lot near the prison. They suspect the 6 escapees smashed a car window there and then fled by car. At 2:30 p.m., someone called the police, reporting their car stolen. It was a 1989 model Pontiac vehicle with a deep reddish-brown body. Using the license plate info, authorities traced the car's whereabouts over 522 kilometers from Pittsburgh to an underground parking lot in Indiana, where the stolen car was found. In an underground garage in Indiana, they found the stolen car. Indiana police received a call. The caller said his delivery van disappeared. He had delivered to a mall on the morning of January 9. After unloading, he parked it in the mall's underground lot. When he returned, the van was gone. Reviewing CCTV, police saw 6 men smash the windows with a rod and drive off. News of 6 inmates escaping from a Western prison was looping on TV stations across the U.S. Indiana police quickly realized the 6 could be those escapees. Following that lead, investigators learned the fugitives hadn't split up, but stayed together. Using the van's license plate, police traced their escape route, but the 6 were highly alert. At each stop they swapped the plates, breaking the cordon several times, slipping away right under police eyes. Media swarmed the story after the breakout. TV screens constantly showed the 6 prisoners' photos, sparking public fear. People worried they'd break into homes. 6 days later, a phone call turned the manhunt around. A man reported that he and a friend had captured one of the escapees, Brock Bao. He said at Houston's train station, he saw a suspicious man, nervous, pacing back and forth. Then the man suddenly collapsed, wailing in pain. They approached to check, recognized him as the fugitive, subdued him and called 911. Police raced to Houston Station and indeed found the escapee Brock Bao, but he was disoriented, acting strangely. He was crawling on the ground as if mentally unstable. He was taken to a hospital, where exams showed his odd behavior was due to heavy drug use. After intensive care, Brock Bao survived, having been unconscious for hours. Then police moved him to an interrogation room. Kobek Bao still looked dazed, mumbling nonsense. Police asked him about the other 5. He kept evading the questions. After 3 hours of questioning, the police got no useful leads. Houston sits close to Mexico. If they leave the US, bringing them back becomes far harder. Though the blog didn't reveal any leads, he kept starting sentences with "we," which convinced police that after the jailbreak, the 6 stayed together. So catching any one of the 5 could lead to the whole group. On day 8, at 6:45 p.m., in the Houston suburbs, an officer was patrolling Highway 10. A Lincoln suddenly sped past. 2 people were inside. They were speeding and not wearing seatbelts. Police gave chase to intercept. The driver didn't stop. Instead floored it, raising suspicion. He hit the siren. Soon the car pulled over. The officer stepped out to check. Before they got close, the car revved and sped off. The officer gave chase again. During the pursuit, the suspect slammed the brakes, trying to shake the police, but he miscalculated and careened into the roadside brush. A man leapt from the car and ran toward the woods. The officer drew his gun, ordering him to stop. The man kept running, deeper into the forest. He got away. Inside the car, the officer found another man who had passed out in the driver's seat. He was identified as Keller, one of the escapees. Now 2 of the 6 are in custody. 4 remain at large. Keller woke up shortly after being taken to the hospital. Police immediately questioned him. He answered with outright arrogance. He was proud of his jailbreak. Investigators kept praising him for it. Keller, flushed with pride, slipped an important clue. During the escape, a 35-year-old man named Anders had been helping them, supplying contraband and cash, even forging documents. Anders lived in a trailer. Nearby stood a white elephant statue. He didn't know the exact address. As for the others' whereabouts, Keller said he wouldn't betray his brothers, trying to discourage the police from searching. Following the tip, investigators actually located the trailer. It was off Interstate 19, on Houston's outskirts, right by the white elephant statue. With the spot confirmed, police moved in. To stay hidden, they went in plain clothes. When they arrived, they saw a red Ford parked beside the trailer. A red Ford was also parked there. They ran the license plate and traced the owner, who wasn't Anders. Someone else owned it, likely obtained by Anders through illegal means. Then a man stepped out of the trailer. A man walked out. It was Anders. Not wanting to spook him, the police held back, staying inside the vehicle. Anders drove the Ford away, with police in hot pursuit. Soon he pulled into the Pasadena Motor Inn parking lot. From the Pasadena Motor Inn parking lot, unaware he was being tailed. After parking, Anders entered the motel, heading to room 129 on the 2nd floor. The remaining 4 escapees were likely holed up in that room. 2 plainclothes officers pretended to wait in the hallway, but kept a close eye on the door. Then the door to room 129 swung open. Escapees Heim and Billingsley stepped out, on high alert, scanning the area. Then the 2 slowly walked toward the chief officer. As they get closer, police draw guns and arrest them. The pair stay on guard, but they never expected the police to strike so fast. They're led away by the officers. Room 129, however, remains a mystery. Someone inside might be armed. Backup arrives shortly. They cordon off the whole motel. Then the door to room 129 swings open from inside. One fugitive, Pontes, sticks his head out, flashing a terrified light outward with an unbelievable expression. Police move in and take him down. They then arrest Conrad and Anders inside the room. A search yields blank driver's licenses, firearms, ammunition, and contraband. All 6 escapees are now in custody. During questioning, everyone points the finger at Pontes, claiming the whole jailbreak was his idea. He alone masterminded the Cantonese-style plan. The others just followed orders. At first they doubted Pontes, but he actually pulled off the escape. When faced with the accusations, Pontes readily admits the jailbreak was his own design. Though he never expected to be caught so quickly, he was that close to fleeing to Mexico and gaining freedom. When police ask when he first dreamed of escaping, Pontes answers bluntly, "From the moment I stepped into the prison." He tells investigators, "Western prison is a nightmare." He thought about leaving every single day. After hearing Pontes' full confession, those present silently admire his cunning. Investigators then ask where he went after the breakout, and about his link to Anders. Pontes says he doesn't know Anders at all. After leaving prison, he first fled to Oklahoma. His teammate Keller mentions a friend named Anders, living in Houston, Texas. The man is highly capable, able to forge documents and provide a safe house, so they headed to Houston and met Anders. He was very enthusiastic, even found them a motel, and gave them a lot of cash. Once the fake IDs were ready, they could flee to Mexico, start a new life there. That rare freedom made them thrilled. They drank and played cards at the motel, waiting for Anders to deliver the fake IDs. They'd never been this happy. But Birkbaugh couldn't take it. He left the motel while everyone slept. Alone, he slipped out, until he was arrested at Houston train station. 2 days later, Pontes and Keller drove out to shop. They ran into police. Terrified, they tried to flee by car. In panic, they chose a dead-end road. The car crashed. Keller was thrown by the impact. Pontes jumped out alone and escaped. Back at the motel, they decided to leave Houston. They urged Anders to get the fake IDs to the motel fast. Too late, none of them got away. Investigation confirmed Pontes was the mastermind. Plot. For safety, he was held alone. He couldn't leave his cell for 24 hours, only 1 hour of recreation each Friday. The other 5 faced trial, then sent back to West Prison to serve their sentences. Anders, who helped them escape, got 4 years. Afterward, West Prison underwent major reforms. Security measures were tightened. Tools used by inmates at work now face stricter regulations.